Tom Wheeler, the chairman of the FCC, just offered up a bizarre assertion, which was he thinks the ruling on net neutrality under 706 grants him the authority to override the 20 states' laws that say we don't want municipal or community broadband in our state. I don't know how he made the jump from net neutrality to we're going to steamroll state law with community broadband. But beyond that, if you actually look at the evolution of community broadband and the local jurisdictional assignment of private businesses, you realize government is the problem. It's not the solution. And adding more government to solve the problems government created is ridiculous. An internet service provider has to go to the town and get shakedown from the town. They have to offer the government, they have to wire up and give free broadband to the government entities. They have to do all of these other, it's kind of like a merger agreement where they have to agree to a bunch of stupid concessions, capitulations. And in exchange for that, the municipality gives them exclusive access to that marketplace. So it's not a market-created monopoly, it's a government-created monopoly. So all these local governments are creating these monopolies all over the place, and then Tom Wheeler decries the lack of competition for local broadband. Well, it's not the market's fault. It's not market failure. It's government-created monopolies. He doesn't look at the fact that A, the government created the monopolies in the first place. B, they make it so hard, even if they're not creating a monopoly, they make it so hard for place such a high government barrier to entry into the marketplace with all of these capitulations, these concessions, that only a couple of companies can afford to do it. If the local government to whom they're begging permission to do business is also providing that service, they're going to be even less amenable to allowing them into the area because they're inviting competition against themselves as a government broadband provider. I find it the height of hypocrisy that the left, who points to a Comcast-NBC merger and says, Comcast is going to slow down Netflix because they'd prefer you to get their Xfinity video services, and that's never happened, now wants to invite the government into the process of being the government provider of broadband and the permission grantor to competitors to the government broadband in the government broadband areas. And for Chairman Wheeler to announce, I don't care that 20 states have realized the folly of municipal broadband and have passed state laws to outlaw it because it's a terrible idea, for Chairman Wheeler to ignore the concept of federalism and say, I, as the unelected chairman of the FCC, I'm going to steamroll 20 states and their laws and start pushing municipal broadband again in these states, is a completely obnoxious and ridiculous move. Reduce the local regulations, reduce the government intervention and shakedowns, and that way you'll have more competition, and it won't give the government the federal government this false premise of there's not enough competition, so we need government to compete with them.